if you have an idea, don't share it with other people. Who's gonna...
And I would have never thought of doing it this way if I haven't spoken to that very specific person.
What is barakah? What is blessing? So what if my mother prays for me?
No one cares about your product. People care about the problems that they have.
A tea shop, a burger joint.
If you are not paying for a product, then you are the product.
Do you have a degree? Do you have a master's? Do you have 10 years of experience?
And we will never hire anyone because of his GPA.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to Dome Podcast. And I'm your host, Hatim Abdissalaam. And today we have a honorable guest. My guest is engineer Eng.Azzan Al Kindi, who is a CEO and a co-founder of Rihal, which is a data migration and services company. Assalamu alaikum, Azzan.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a wonderful opportunity. I follow you throughout your journey, and I told you this before, I'm a huge fan of the work that you guys do. I'm a huge supporter of the work that you guys do, and I'm genuinely honored to be here today.
Jazakallah khair, Azzan. I think we are honored more than you to have you on the show. You remember the first time we met?
I don't know if you do. I do remember the first time.
I didn't remember, but subhanallah, we met at a holy place, which is in Mecca. We went together for Hajj.
Yes.
And subhanallah, the reason why I'm asking you why we met the first time, because when we met the first time, it was also an opening for you to start Rihal. Tell us about the story of Rihal.
Well, I don't tell this story to many people. I have to be honest here. So I need to go back a couple of years. It was July of 2018 was when I basically decided that if I want to pursue this entrepreneurship thing, I need to quit my job. I used to work in Schlumberger, as you know, and I used to work in the United Arab Emirates at the time. And then I quit my job in the 19th of July 2018.
Yes.
And then we went for Hajj on the 10th of August 2018. Those 20 days were very interesting because I basically, with my co-founders, I started to look for for opportunities, doing sales, knocking on doors and all. Honestly, it didn't go so well. It wasn't as glamorous as I thought it will be. I really thought that when I quit my job, I really thought that we'll get a lot of opportunities, we'll be so busy, and it will be this massive thing. Even though it was just 20 days in Oman at the time, and I went to Hajj, and I was full of optimism. At the same time, just rethinking the strategy of how we need to open this company.
Yes.
And I went to Hajj, and I've met so many amazing people in Hajj. You, one of them. You don't remember me, but I do. And I saw the camaraderie that you guys had, and just the way that everything was put together. It inspired me in so many ways, and I think that was definitely a milestone into us, into myself, thinking of how we should establish this company. Not only this, I've met with some people who became partners into our organization.
So Allah opened doors for you.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
It must be the day of Arafah that
did
all the magic.
It was honestly, I've never said this in any place before. I have to be honest with you. But in day of Arafah, honestly, I sat there and I prayed to Allah, and this is what I want to do. I have a lot of plans, and I wish for this to actually happen. Subhanallah, it is the prayers of my parents, work of the guys,
yes,
the people that I've met in Hajj, whom actually became partners in Rihal. They became investors in Rihal. It opened doors, and all I can say from this experience that I had is, even though those 20 days from the 19th of July until 10th of August, they were a short period of time, but I had so much expectation that a lot of things are going to happen in these 20 days for me to actually go in this journey of Rihal. But at the same time, that break that happened in the middle, me just reevaluating the way I need to do things in Hajj. So one of the things that I've done was in Hajj, I decided basically then and there,
Yes.
I need to speak as many people as I can. Tell them what I want to do. Tell them the passion. Tell them the story. Tell them I want to do this company. And
This goes. Sorry to cut you off. This goes against what we have always been taught, that if you have an idea, don't share it with other people. People are gonna steal your idea.
Yeah.
Which is a wrong concept.
I am 100% utterly against doing this. There's many reasons behind this. Unfortunately, people refer to the Prophet saying, "أعينوا على قضاء حاجاتكم بالكتمان."
Yeah.
While it is what the Prophet said, it does not really apply to doing business. When you're doing business, you have to sell. You have to talk to people. You have to find people who are buying your service.
People will give you better ideas, improvements, and one mind is more. 10 minds are better than one mind.
Exactly. وأمرهم شورى بينهم يعني.
Yes.
And you need to be open towards hearing people's ideas, modifying your ideas so that it fits to those people. There's so many situations where I spoke to people,
Yes.
and they were marveled by the idea, and then they came in, they Azzan, but why don't you do it this way? And it just clicks. Oh, I never thought of doing it this way. And I would have never thought of doing it this way if I haven't spoken to that very specific person. What I've done after coming from Hajj was...
Before we go to that, I just want to stop at a point that you said. You mentioned asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the prayers of your parents.
Yeah.
Which a lot of young people today don't think it is.
They underestimate the
they
power.
They
really underestimate
the idea of dua, supplication,
Yeah.
asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your needs,
Yeah.
because Allah is the master of the universe. He is running the show.
Yeah.
So if you have any specific need, that's the way to go.
Definitely.
That's the direction. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has abundance of blessings for everybody, enough for everybody. So if you don't ask Allah, who are you going to ask? And then also your parents being happy with you, content, they pray for you. That has a very big impact in our life.
100%.
Young people today, they don't see that. They think about the tangible things.
Yeah.
That's, what is barakah? What is blessing? So what if my mother prays for me?
No.
What will that add?
No.
It will add a lot.
I am someone who is definitely a living proof of just what the power of parents' prayers can actually come to you. Not just from the work that myself and my co-founders have done in Rihal, but even before this, even when we were studying, when we were working. Whenever I am in stress, I would call my mom, just pray for me. I don't tell her all the details, of course, because sometimes it's not the actual details that matter. It's just I need to know. Even so, it goes in both ways. See, it goes in the fact that the mom's prayers and the whole religious aspect of it. But there is another part of it, which is more of a personal, spiritual aspect of it. You going into that, doing that work, knowing that I have my mom's support, I have my dad's support,
Yes.
I have Allah's support into doing this, it gives you this kind of confidence that you will never be able to get just doing yourself and motivating yourself and keeping motivating yourself. There is a more of a spiritual thing that goes into it that is intangible.
Yes.
And you are never going to recognize it until you actually, like myself, gone through so many challenges, so many issues, so many late nights.
Not everything is scientific.
Not everything is scientific,
Yes.
honestly. And while we as young people, and I'm guilty of this myself, we always try to look for the scientific approach, the scientific reasoning, the scientific way of doing things. And we have to do this because of the work that we do. But at the same time, we have to recognize that no matter how much you try to scientifically explain the issues that you have, there is always that spiritual part of it. There is always that part that you will never be able to explain.
Is it more difficult when you are an engineer?
It is miles more.
I know engineers will hate me today,
Yeah,
but engineers are always logical people.
Exactly.
1 + 1 = 2.
Exactly. And we do. And honestly, I'm myself included. Everything that I'm really interested into the biological sciences, the physical science, the astrology part of things. And I want to know both sides of the story. I want to know the religious side of the story, and I want to understand what these scientists think of, so that I can make the relationship in my mind. That's basically what I want to do. And the more I dive into things, the more I recognize that you have thought that this is the better way of explaining things, but now, scientifically speaking, this is the proper way of doing things, which matches what has been written in the Quran. And I'm seeing this in front of me, and I'm seeing it unfolding in front of me, and I recognize more and more that, you have to learn. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. You have to learn, you have to understand, you have to ask questions. Why did this happen? Why did we become here? Yes. Why does this tree grow in a certain way? You have to understand, you have to ask questions.
This doesn't mean, Azzan, we should not be logical, we should not use a scientific route or method.
Yeah.
This is not what we're saying.
No.
We're saying that you should follow the scientific method, but never forget at the back of your head that there is a creator of this heaven, of the heavens and the earth, who is running the show, and we need him.
We are passengers.
We are passengers.
We are passengers of this ride. We're just trying to make best do out of this ride that we are in.
Now, before we get into the details of Rihal and what Rihal does, you are an engineer in the oil and gas industry. Yeah. And suddenly, with only 6 years of experience in your area, you're still a young man, you decided to quit your job.
I'm old.
Which is not as old as me, which is a very brave thing to do. And not many people would take that step, especially in the beginning of their career. Someone told you something that intrigued this move. He said that the new oil is data. And this sparked something into your head and made you move and take this decision. What happened, Azzan?
So it was never, I have to explain that it was never just that one thing that made me and my co-founders do this thing. It was a magnitude of so many things that had to happen for me to actually make the decision to actually quit. One of them was when I graduated from Sultan Qaboos University. I was blessed, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, I was blessed to have 3 job opportunities at the time.
Alhamdulillah.
Even before my final exams, I had 3 job opportunities. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, tawfiq min Allah yani. And what happened was, I was trying to choose between these 3 opportunities that I had, and I had the pleasure of calling someone who's quite prestigious in this field, in the oil and gas field. And he asked me one question, and I asked him, what should I choose between these 3? He asked me one question. He said, Azzan, what do you want in 10 years? It was very obvious. Within 10 years, I want to have my own company. He said, if you want to have your own company, then go to Schlumberger. That was his answer to me.
So the vision was clear to you?
It was clear from day one.
You didn't want to work for someone else?
And
make them more money?
I wanted to have my own thing. Of course, myself and my co-founders, we wanted to have our own thing. We wanted to build, we wanted to hire, we wanted to shape the vision of a company for it to grow into a massive enterprise. And when he told me this, he gave me the reasoning. He said that you will learn the corporate ways, you will learn how to deal with clients, you'll learn hardships. And I took that, and I went to Schlumberger, and I had this in mind, that's basically, I'm just here, I'm just racking in the years. Whenever the opportunity presents itself, that's what I'll do. we wanted to do so many things. We wanted to open a restaurant. We wanted to go into 3D printing. We wanted to go into marketing. There's so many different
But
ideas.
that's the thing, Azzan. I sit and wonder when I listen to your story. You've had other interviews, and traditionally, people, when they want to start a business, they will think of a tea shop, a burger joint, marketing, selling honey, all the traditional norms.
Yeah.
But you went to a total different industry,
Yeah.
even away from
My field.
your field, which is engineering.
Yeah.
And I understand also technology is your passion.
Yeah.
So before asking you about the business, I would ask you, why did you go to engineering college instead of going to some, computer science or software development or something like that?
Yeah. So my passion, myself and my co-founder, I have to emphasize on this because my co-founder is someone that I studied with in Royal Guard Oman Technical College.
Mashallah.
Together for 8 years, and then we went to the same university. We studied mechanical engineering, and then we both worked in Schlumberger. What we wanted, we were so passionate about technology, but at the time, it was very important to choose the specialization that will have a paying job in the end. And at the time, when we graduated back in the 2000s or 2007, engineering was the place to go if you want to get a job.
Yes.
And it was so important for us to go to a place where we can actually get the job. And mechanical engineering at the time was the top specialization to go.
The demand
basically
for in mechanical engineering.
For mechanical engineering.
Yes.
And we had one funny story was we had when studying mechanical engineering, we had one subject where we studied programming, software development.
Yes.
And we aced that subject. We were so good at that subject because we studied it in Royal Guard Technical College. We aced it, and the professor came to us at the time. He said, "Azzan, Asim, you guys are too good for this. Why don't you switch to computer science?"
Yes.
That was he actually told us. We told him there are no jobs in computer. There are no jobs in computer science.
Allah was sending signals all along, but you insisted to go and work in the desert,
So
dirtying your hands in mechanical engineering.
Hatim, my theory in here is everything happens for a reason. We
Indeed.
made that decision for a reason, and it's never too late. It's never too late to go into master's degrees and actually studying computer science. It's never too late to go into nano degrees and studying computer science. It's never too late to actually go and open a company in computer science. I'm a software developer, and I don't develop as much as people. I do understand some very high level things, but to opening an enterprise or starting a company, there are so many things that are so many different aspects of building a company that are way beyond just understanding computer science.
Yes.
There is the finance part of it. There is the sales part of it.
The leadership,
there is,
the communication.
leadership, the communication, the
strategic
politics, the
planning.
strategic planning, the having the investors on board, the motivating people, the managing the challenges. There's so many intricate things that go into.
It's funny when you said the strategic planning, because I understand that before you starting the business, you had a very thick file of a business plan.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about that business plan that you had.
There is a term that is used in entrepreneurship called pivoting.
Yes.
And pivoting, what it means is just moving around and trying to manage where basically the wave takes you. When we started, we had an idea. We had an idea of creating a software that does data management work for oil and gas. And all the mentors at the time told us that, just build this software and sell this software 10x here, 10x there. And we really felt, okay, this is the best way to. We build the software and we sell the software. Build and sell. Build and sell. This is what we thought that is the best way to go. Reality hit when we found out that no one cares. No one wants to buy your software.
What happened? How come?
People or organizations that we go to, they don't care about the product. They care about the service that you provide. They care, Azzan, I have this problem. Can you solve this problem for me? You want to use your software. You want to use
other tailor-made softwares.
Exactly, whatever software. I don't care. This is money. This is problem. Solve the problems that I have. And this was a reality hit for us. Honestly, it took me a while, at least myself. My co-founders they managed to cope with it. Yeah. I couldn't, because I read a lot of books. I've met with a lot of mentors. Everyone told me that to get a company, to get a startup, you need a product and you need to sell that product.
Yes.
While reality was that no one cares. No one cares about your product. People care about the problems that they have. Even if your software solves that product, he has salespeople with so many different products. For them, what they're looking for is someone that will come and fix that problem for you. For example, just to give you an example.
Yes.
You go into an organization and you tell them, see, I'm selling you a software that will digitize your documents.
Yeah.
Okay? I have a software that will digitize your document. What will happen is that client will tell you, okay, nice, but I have this cabinet filled with papers. Why should I buy your software? Can you just do it for me? Can you just digitize these documents for me? You see what's happening here? So instead of them buying your software to do all of the work themselves, they will ask you, just do it for me. Just do this service.
Solve the problem that I have.
Solve the problem for me. The moment I realized this, even though my co-founders kept telling me that this is what we need to do, when
the traditional mindset, you cannot get rid of it.
The moment I let go of my ego and I recognized this thing, it was the moment for Rihal to go to this.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah, tawfiq min Allah. Again, I say, we started in 2018. Today in Rihal, we have more than 140 employees. In just 4 years, we basically multiplied in numbers. We work in 11 countries around the world, all of it remotely. We have the pleasure and honor of meeting with top people in Oman and speaking to them about our company and about what we do. I get the pleasure of speaking with Hatim on a podcast about the things that we do. And all of this was hard work. It was a lot of people put together and just coming in. I cannot put into words, and I cannot stress that in this organization, it wasn't Azzan that built this. It was a team's effort. It was a lot of people just working together towards a goal. Azzan is just the person who speaks. Azzan is the person who goes, he is the image, and that's it. There is a lot of mechanics and gears put together that made Rihal what it is right now.
We're going to talk about the gears and the mechanics after the break.
Inshallah. We'll do. Bismillah. We'll do.
Dear brothers and sisters, welcome back to Dome Podcast with our honorable guest, engineer Azzan bin Qais Al Kindi. Welcome back, Azzan.
Thank you very much.
Azzan, your story is very interesting, and the story of your team, the dedication that you had. I understand that for a young Omani man or a woman to start a business, there are so many challenges.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you faced those challenges.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you faced in establishing Rihal?
Yeah.
And maybe in the beginning, we still haven't told people what does Rihal do.
Yeah. So I'll give you a bit of a brief about what we do.
Yeah.
We are a digital transformation company that deals a lot with data. What we do is we are basically a B2B, so business to business. So we don't sell to the public. Individuals. We sell to corporates and large corporations. So our clients are in oil and gas, they are in telecom, they're in logistics, they're government entities. So what we do for them is we solve their problems in digital transformation. So say, for example, an organization would come to us and they will tell us, see, Azzan, we do this process manually and it takes us 2 months to finish this process. How can you digitize this process?
Yes.
And so that we can do it as fast as possible. So we come in, we understand what needs to be done, and we create software, we do automation, we do digitization, we do data analysis, we do artificial intelligence and machine learning, we do business intelligence, so that we can reduce the effort taken to actually do that specific process internally or externally. And at the same time, we help these organizations into realizing the value of data that they have. So in many cases, what tends to happen is these organizations, they would come in and they would know that Azzan or Rihal, we know that we have a lot of data, but we don't know how to use it. Can you help us into finding value out of this data? And
for you to help them, do you need to have the knowledge of how to do it only, meaning the process, or do you need to have also the knowledge of the business?
You need to have a bit of both. And we do have a bit of both. That's why we started in the oil and gas sector. That's where we started, is because we understand the oil and gas sector, so we have to have the knowledge in there. However, we try our best to bring in consultants from outside to help us. We call them subject matter experts or SMEs. These people would come in and they will bridge the gap between us, IT people, and what they have in the businesses, what they have in the business itself. So it's a bit of both, basically.
MashaAllah. And now coming to the challenges.
Yeah, so with the challenges...
Because you just started just before Corona, right?
Yeah.
And as we all know that during the pandemic, it was the most difficult part for businesses, many businesses.
Yes, that is true.
But mashallah, your business carried on.
Alhamdulillah.
And you continued and you strived. And I even came to know about Rihal when I saw a post about you signing a very important memorandum with one of the bodies in the government.
Yeah.
And I said, who's Rihal? What do they do? What is this guy looks very familiar with the khanjar and the lovely beard. But I was curious to know more about Rihal because the name is very different. It's not a name like Cisco or Microsoft or something to do with the IT. It's something. It sounds like a camping company in Rimal Sharqiya or something.
Exactly.
But and then I came to find out there's more to Rihal.
Yeah.
So before you going to the challenges, what does Rihal mean?
So the name Rihal came from Tarheel al-Bayanat, which means data migration. Because what we did was migrating data from unusable data to usable data. That's basically the idea of where Rihal started with.
I love the idea of we being very proud of our identity and using the Arabic brand
100%.
In our companies and what we do, because for sure if you travel around the world and deal with other corporates, they will ask you, what is Rihal? Why did you choose this name?
No.
And it gives you, an opportunity to talk about it, to talk about where you're coming from and your language and so on. I
am a huge advocate of using Arabic names for your company, because you have to have an identity and you have to have something that you yourself can relate into, but your employees can relate into. Something that people can remember, something that is short. Alhamdulillah, our language is a beautiful language. Yani, honestly, and Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we have a beautiful language. There is a lot of the way that our language is structured. It gives you the opportunity to come up with so many different interesting names that yani, it's you don't see this in other languages. At least the ones that
you don't. It's a very rich language.
Yes.
Just imagine, for a lion, you have almost 14 to 15 names.
Exactly.
A young lion, an old lion,
so even
a male lion,
exactly.
a female lion.
Exactly. And even within Rihal, we have our own products. So we have Hasad, which is like a timesheet keeper. We call it Hasad. We have Bayanat, which is a data ingestion and centralization tool. We have Sabab, which is a data engine that works on data engine.
I'm loving this now.
We have Isal, which is for invoices, invoice management system.
Yes.
We call it Isal. So all of these, we make it, it's for us and our team. And if our team came up with this idea, you know, this identity is the thing that is going to drive us forward.
And inshallah, in the future, you are going to export these names and ideas to other countries. People are going to be very proud using Arabic terminologies, yes. And this is the way forward. I always say that for me to be educated and advanced in science, I don't have to learn other people's language. I can learn science in my own language. Yeah. I can become who I am. And that's how the previous generations who were advanced in science, they were advanced in the Arabic language.
For sure.
So we should be proud of who we are and what we stand for.
I'm someone who is like all my years when I was in school, I studied everything in English. Science, mathematics, everything was in English. University, of course, everything is in English. And I always encourage people to learn the English language as proficiently as possible. Why? Because it's the language of business. It's the language that will open doors for you. It's the language that will bring you money. But at the same time, don't forget where you come from. Don't forget that this language is an amazing and a beautiful language. If we are able to support and help into having sciences in Arabic, then well and good. But at the same time, there is a certain level of globalization that is happening worldwide. We need to understand what is going on. We need to be very proficient in the way we speak because we are running businesses. We want to be the best at what we do. And currently, as unfortunate as it is, this is just the way to go. And we are doing this podcast in English just to basically re-emphasize this.
Let me share with you a funny story.
Please.
When I first started my career at Oman Radio, of course it was in English, someone approached me and said, you have a terrible accent for the radio. You need to be a radio host. And I simply responded to him saying that it doesn't make a difference to me. First of all, because it's not my language. Second, this is just a job. As long as you understand what I'm saying, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed that I have a bad accent, but I would really be ashamed if I make mistake in my own language, Arabic.
Exactly.
So if you see me making a mistake in Arabic, you can tell me.
You can come and
tell me. Yeah. But if it's in English or any other foreign language, I don't care. It's on my language.
Exactly, and it's the grammar that matters. It's not the accent. The accent is the accent. It's the grammar. And
some people are concerned about.
Unfortunately, yes. It's
going back to the challenges.
Yes. There are so many different challenges that happened to us when we first started, during the journey, even just literally today morning. Yani. I can speak about challenges for a very long time, but one highlight challenge that has happened to us. There's something that is called cash flow. Cash flow is basically how much money an organization is able to have within their banks, within their accounts. And because we come from business, we come from Shlumberry, we always, or Asim always understood that cash flow is king, we call it. There's a term that says cash flow is king. It is the thing that puts companies up or down.
It dominates.
It dominates. Yeah. Since we started, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, tawfiq min Allah, every month we were able to generate revenue. Every month.
Alhamdulillah.
Every month since the day we started.
So you're going to lend me some money?
Why not? Why not? Not a lot of money, but at least we were able to actually generate revenue.
Alhamdulillah.
Until May of 2020.
Yes.
May of 2020 was the first time that we ever had a month where we generated zero revenue. You need to understand that this is not a small thing. It's a big red flag. We have salaries to pay. We have people. We have rent, energy. There's so many utilities. There's so many things that
it's stressful. Yeah,
it is stressful when you see your revenue stream coming in, and then this 1 month for some reason it just went down. And the reason was because of COVID.
Yes.
There were contracts that were supposed to start, and they didn't start. There were promises that some jobs were going to start in April, and they didn't start until June. So it just bad circumstances that made this happen. And what happened was, my co-founder came to me and he told me, Azzan, this is a huge red flag. This should not happen. We cannot have a month where we don't generate revenue. We cannot call ourselves a corporate company unless we are able to generate every month. So we basically had a back and forth, and we decided that we will add one more service into our portfolio. This service is something that I always dreaded. I always hated.
So you decided not to put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
Okay.
But that specific service is something that I always didn't want to do. It was something that, again, this is ego speaking. It's one of those things that
I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going to. This is for small companies. It's not something that Rahal will do. We are much better than this. And I say these things not teach, but to tell people, swallow your ego. Swallow your ego.
To do business, you need to swallow your ego.
You need to swallow your ego. And we decided to do it. We decided to actually go in and do this. We tweaked it a bit so that it matches basically our portfolio. Yeah. But we ended up doing it. And now it is one of the highest revenue generating.
Do you slap yourself around and say, I should have done it long time ago?
I make a lot of mistakes. As Azzan, I make a lot of mistakes.
But aren't you grateful that it's an opportunity to learn?
Yes.
Something like this. If you didn't have the drop in cash flow in May, you wouldn't have taken this step. You wouldn't have the extra cash from 100%. This basket.
I am extremely grateful for the bad situation that has happened to me. While, to be very honest and very frank with you,
I think Asim is enjoying this.
Asim. When I am in that situation, when I'm in the bad situation, the stress that comes in, the itchy beard, I don't enjoy it. But once we are able to actually overcome those stressful situations, we are proud. We are happy. Yeah. We are grateful. We are able to move on to the next problem with our heads held high because we have overcome more and more problems. I have challenges every month. There is a challenge that comes to our company that I feel, oh my God, this is the largest challenge that we have ever faced. How are we ever going to solve this?
Yes.
And all I can say is, without going into details, but all I can say is, بتوفيق من الله, دعوة الوالدين, just working together as a team, understanding the other person's perspective is something that I had to learn, really understand and articulate. How can I put myself into that person's shoes? Whether it's a client, whether it's our employees, whether it's our partners, whether it's our investors. How can I put myself into those people's shoes so that I can understand why are they just saying what they're saying? Sometimes it's very difficult to have the answer to these questions, but at the same time, understanding other people's perspective is a trait that comes in with time.
Yes.
And it's one of the things that we are now able to do much better than what we used to do before. And at the same time, working on ourselves, making ourselves better day in, day out, both from a business perspective, reading, watching videos, and enriching our knowledge day in, day out from a business perspective, but also from a technical perspective. And
I want to discuss about your team,
yeah,
but after the break.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. I have a lot to say.
Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to Dome Podcast with my honorable guest, Azzan bin Qais Al Kindi. Azzan, I understand you have an amazing team, more than 140, very intelligent young men and women. And some of them are very intelligent. All of them are intelligent. Some of them sacrificed to be with Rihal because they believed in the idea.
Yeah.
Tell us about your team, Azzan.
I cannot even start to express how thankful I am into having this team. And I sometimes sit and wonder just how lucky I am to actually have them.
Yes.
Whether it's our management team, whether it's our team leads, whether it's our developers, whether it's our operations people. Honestly, I come into the office and I see the passion that these guys have into their profession. And one of the things that I used to tell the early employees, the ones that we started with, I used to tell them, I'm waiting for the day where we hire people that are much smarter than us, and they would come and tell us what to do. I'm just waiting for this day to happen. And I can report that my people come and tell me what to do every single day. MashaAllah alayhum. Honestly, they come from, some of them, we are more than 140. Around 125 of them are Omanis. Graduated from top universities around the world, and some of them graduated from Oman. I have one person who shall remain nameless, who was doing excellent job with the client. The client kept coming to us and telling us just how good this guy is. And we hired him. Of course, he is good. He came to Rihal. But then I found out that he was a graduate of Thanawiyah.
Subhanallah.
Yeah. And I was shocked. The guy is, his salary scale.
He only had high school.
He
didn't go to university.
No, not university, not college. The guy had high school, and he just taught himself programming, little here and little there. He did a couple of jobs here and there. He came to Rihal, and the guy is with high school, and his salary scale is as much as people with bachelor degree. I was like, man, kudos to you.
This is changing the mindset of the market now, because normally the traditional way of applying for a job, do you have a degree? Do you have a master's? Do you have 10 years of experience? And what is on the paper is more important than your actual capabilities.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you say you don't have a degree, they don't even look at you.
Yeah.
But what you're telling us today changes the whole game.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have never, and we will never hire anyone because of his GPA. No one who was hired in Rihal was hired because he had a high GPA. Some people do. Some people have higher GPAs. But that was not the reason why they were
Not the
hired.
criteria.
It is never the criteria. I don't care. No one cares. No one in our organization cares about your GPA or what did you score in school. We care about your passion. Are you passionate about the work that you do? Are you willing to go the extra mile to teach yourself? And are you someone who fits into our culture, the way we do things, the way we work, and the way we...
The work ethics.
The work ethics, exactly. Yes. The way we conduct our work in front of our clients. In the end, while I do say that, I'm happy that I have my own business, But in the end, I am an employee of my clients. Our clients come first, and they shape the way we do things, and we need to be as professional as possible when we're dealing with our clients. We need to be agile as possible, as fast as possible, and delivering the highest quality to our clients. As long as these people who we hire adhere to these criteria, then they come on board.
Azzan, you have an interesting aspect when it comes to one of the social media platforms that is very popular. It's becoming, the talk of town, which is TikTok.
Yeah.
And maybe a lot of young people, they are on TikTok, but they don't understand the science behind it and how it works. What's your experience with the TikToks? Do you have a TikTok account?
No, I don't.
Why don't you have a TikTok account?
I have social media,
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, and but TikTok is one platform that I purposefully did not go into. There are many reasons because of this, of why I made this decision. And the main reason was the terms and conditions that TikTok has. Of course, everyone is entitled to their opinion. بالعكس, if you are able to use this platform into gaining more knowledge, into spending time, this is your right.
What are the terms and the conditions that stopped you?
The very weird term that TikTok has that no one else has is the privacy settings that they have. If you install TikTok on your machine, on your device, TikTok has, you can look it up, I'm not speaking voodoo here, you can look it up. TikTok has the right, of all your information.
Stored on your machine?
Yes, not only on your machine, but on every other machine that is linked with your ID that you have signed in. So for example, you are using a tablet, you are using a PC, you are using a work PC.
This is alarming.
They have the right, if you sign in into TikTok, then you give them the right to get into all these platforms. And in the end, TikTok, they do this because you agree into their terms and conditions.
Nobody reads the terms and the conditions.
Yeah, no one reads the terms and conditions. And I found this to be so weird to me. It is so weird that TikTok has this.
What do you think they do with the data? You being in the business of big data.
Data is power. When people say data is the new oil, they are not underestimating this. People need to understand that if you are not paying for a product, then you are the product.
Subhanallah.
The amount of money that these organizations get from selling your information is mind-boggling. To give you an example, it's a very simple example. I had this story happened to Azzan. I didn't read it anywhere. It's something that happened
personal.
to me. This is a very, very personal thing that happened to me. And I understand how they did it, and I'll explain to you how they did it. Somewhere around 2020, I basically decided in the top of my head, I want to buy running shoes. I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't speak about it. I just had this idea in my head. I was then shocked to see ads on my email, on websites that I go to with running shoes.
So it's not voodoo?
Yeah, basically that's the first thing that comes into mind, and it's voodoo. And I was, how? If I spoke about it, then there is the argument, oh, these guys are listening to you.
Yeah.
But this is something that was here. It was on top of my head. How did it come? I did a bit of an investigation, and then I found out that the reason why I wanted to buy running shoes was because Muscat Marathon was 4 months away, 4 or 5 months away. And people who are at my age group and who have the same interest as I do, they
are joining the marathon.
They are joining the marathon. And what do people do when they join a marathon?
Buy new shoes.
They buy new shoes.
Mashallah.
And this is basically how they did it. And this happened to me, and I'm sure that everyone has weird stories that happen to them. And I have to emphasize and explain this thing. There are people that say that your phone is listening to your conversation, which is not true. The phone is listening to your conversation for sure, but they don't use that data for advertisement. What they use is they understand these companies, the Facebooks,
the algorithms.
They use algorithms to understand who you are, and they bundle you with people around you. So you have a profile of Azzan. Azzan, he whenever he goes to YouTube, he likes to search for cars, he likes to search for technology, he likes to search for sports. This is Azzan. Azzan wakes up normally at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. Azzan goes to sleep at 11 p.m. Azzan,
his favorite food
is this and that. So what they do is they take this piece of information. They don't need to know your name. It's not about knowing who you are. It's about
It's not about invading your privacy.
Yes, it's about having a portfolio. They take this portfolio and they match it with people who are similar to you. Okay? They bundle.
And they see a pattern.
And they see a pattern. They see that people who are similar to Azzan are buying new shoes. So it must be that
Azzan,
everyone, not just Azzan,
Azzan and everyone
else
are thinking
about buying new shoes. So I will take this piece of information and I will sell it to Sun & Sons. I will sell it to Adidas. I will sell it to Nike. I will tell them, see, I'm giving you leads that this guy, most likely, he wants to buy new shoes. You get what they do. It's extremely smart. It's a very smart way of marketing. And because they have what we call the economy of scale. When you have so much data, you don't need to know who Azzan is as an individual, because you know it's a group set of people and you understand what this group set of people want to do. The scary thing about this is, while I marvel at the idea of data and what can you use out of data, there is a scary element that comes out of this. This here is a huge scale. Okay, it's a huge scale that spans with literally hundreds of millions of people. We talk about buying stuff, buying shoes, buying makeup, buying water, but there is another aspect that is coming now, which is indoctrinating the way that people think. We hear a lot about
influencing people in groups.
Yes. We hear a lot about I'll give an example about the United States, but it goes with everyone. We have a stage where we have, they call them the Democrats and the Republicans,
yes.
The right wing and the left wing.
Yes.
And they all sit on a scale, okay? But this scale is so huge that if you are able to tip the scale 0.1% into any party, it will not necessarily move everyone to there, but it will move enough people to go into that direction, because you have literally hundreds of millions of people. You just need to move the scale 0.1%. And you have an influx, which is what happened to the United States in 2016. What happened to the United States in 2016 is something that is taught in universities now. This company, Cambridge Analytica, what they've done was they used the power of data to basically persuade people into hating one party over another, which is why I will not mention names. That specific person came into power. He came into power because of the power of data. Now let's take this into what we have here, and TikTok is the best example of this. It is well known that TikTok is, while it's a private company, but it's heavily influenced by government communist agenda. And what they do is they hold their hands and tell them, promote for other countries, promote whatever you need to promote. But for us,
knowledge and science and
technology. For China, TikTok is very different.
No dancing, no crazy monkey business.
There is, of course, but not to the extent that is happening.
That is happening
in here.
In other places.
The only thing that I would say, I am not against. Honestly, I'm not against the monkey business and dancing. I don't. While I don't watch it, I don't care. But the only thing I'll say is, what tends to happen right now is, because these people have the keys,
yes,
these people can control, I only ask for people to be aware of what is going on. I will not tell you not to use TikTok. I will not tell you not to use Instagram. I will not tell you not to use Reddit. The only thing I will tell you is, be aware of what is happening. Be aware that if you're not paying money, you are the product of this, and you are being sold left and right. Once you are aware of this, then you will be able to make the right decisions.
Engineer Azzan bin Qais Al Kindi, thank you so much for this wonderful information, and I hope all our viewers and listeners have an insight now of the reality of data. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, and I wish I can come for other sessions.
You're most welcome anytime. Dear brothers and sisters, thank you very much for watching Dome Podcast. See you next time, inshallah, from me, your host, Hatim Al Abdissalaam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.